have BPD. Who would have guessed, right? Also going through a little bit of an existential crisis, but what's the purpose of life? Full disclosure, for you to be able to compare whatever I got going on to whatever you got going on so you can know if this stuff actually will potentially work for you, I'm going to let you in on exactly what the hell goes on in here. I'm what shrinks call a quiet borderline, who ticks all 9 of the diagnostic criteria boxes. I've got the abandonment trauma. My brain flips from idealization to devaluation very easily. And I'm very self-aware, so I can catch myself when I'm doing this, and I can rationalize myself out of it to see the gray areas, but my brain still does it. My brain loves to do the favorite defense mechanism of all boardies, well, all cluster B personalities, really. Split. And because of that, sometimes I have an intense and inappropriate amount of anger towards people who sometimes don't really deserve it. But when you have a grasp of human psychology, when you have an understanding of why people do the things they do, anger becomes harder and harder of an emotion to tap into. Unstable sense of self, got that. Every day I wake up feeling like a slightly, ever so slightly, different person. I actually asked a couple of my friends about this. I asked them specifically, do you feel like a different person? Every day you wake up, they had no fucking idea what I was talking about. That's when I knew maybe that's not normal. Quick example, one day I wake up and I'm a bad bitch. The next day I wake up and for all intents and purposes, I'm a child. But there never really feels like a real me exists. It's hard to explain. I have intense, and I mean intense, episodes of dysphoria and irritability. And sometimes anxiety, but only if my abandonment trauma is triggered. The dysphoria, these intense episodes of feeling dissatisfied and unhappy, they're the foundations of this chronic feeling of emptiness that I live with, which is essentially my baseline. Instead of me existing, an identity, a tangible thing, it feels more like I'm a void, like a shell of a human, if that makes any sense. Again, it's hard to explain, but that chronic emptiness, the dysphoria, the irritability, the concoction, the soup of emotions, it makes it really fucking hard to get out of bed sometimes when that soup, the soup is screaming at you. Why bother? For what? Who cares? Fuck it. These negative feelings, the irritability, the dysphoria, they'll start to build. And remember, I'm a quiet borderline, so I don't get volatile, typically. Piss me off with abandonment and I might, but I don't typically get volatile. I internalize. Love that for me. These negative feelings, the dysphoria, the irritability, trigger after trigger will layer and layer and layer, and I'll internalize, and it will just compile and compress until eventually I can't handle the overwhelm of emotion anymore, and my brain snaps. And I become manic as fuck and impulsive as fuck. Buy expensive things I don't need. One of my favorites, driving recklessly. Binge eating was a tactic I used for a while. Got up to 310 pounds at one point. That was scary. A lot of risky sex and episodes in my youth. And copious amounts of drugs. I was a little rave girl. People liked giving me stuff. I was very reckless and impulsive. Now to deal with the emotional regulation, I just smoke weed. Like everyone else I know. And I've been told I'm a lot easier to absorb when I do use pot as a coping mechanism. Because I also deal with intrusive suicidal thoughts and an existential crisis, which makes the intrusive thoughts very apathetic and sometimes comical. And these thoughts are truly intrusive. As an example, I was driving down the highway the other day, and the image of me just with a sharp object popped in my head. No rhyme, no reason, no trigger. I had to take a mental step back from my own thoughts for a second, examine them, and just laugh. But if I was in an episode of dysphoria, I wouldn't have been laughing. How many was that? That was like 8, right? What's the last one? What is the last trait? What is the last trait? Come on. Thinky. I got it! Sorry, I got a little too excited there. Stress-related paranoid ideation or severe dissociative symptoms. Try both. When I'm stressed, my brain instantly goes to fuck everyone, the world's against me, everyone in it is an evil person and they're against me. That's called paranoid ideation. And that's when I'm stressed. But when I'm overwhelmed, my brain literally just logs off. I'll stare at a single point, my mind will go blank, and I won't even register that I'm in the room anymore. If I'm severely overwhelmed, just add rocking to that. I'm well aware I do these things. I'm a very self-aware psychotic. But you see, all of this, all that I just listed, all of those traits, those behaviors, those symptoms, whatever the fuck you want to call them, all of that can happen actually in the span of an hour, really. All 9. Fuck. But I'm diligently working on myself, working on these things behaviorally. But what I need help with is controlling the dysphoria and the chronic feelings of emptiness, because those are really what spark the suicidal ideation and all of the fucking behaviors that follow suit, the impulsivity, we just went through them. I need some type of external regulation right now to control the dysphoria and to nullify these chronic feelings of emptiness while I work on the behaviors. Because if I'm emotionally dysregulated, behaviors don't mean shit. If I'm emotionally dysregulated and I don't give a fucking shit about my life, you think I care about working on behaviors and changing my patterns? No. I'm a child. I'm stuck in a state of arrested development. I always wanted to watch that TV show, actually. Is it good? Let me know. Oh yeah, I need help controlling the emotional regulation because hard to work on behaviors, cognitive behaviors and patterns, and reformulating my thoughts and giving a shit about that if I am emotionally all over the place. I'm feeling restless and a little bit manic right now, but let's get through this video. Let's get through it. But yeah, to give you a metaphor of why I feel like I need this pharmaceutical, it hurts my soul a little bit to say that, is because it's really hard to apply your makeup when you are going up and down the roller coaster of emotions. If you know what I'm trying to say. It's difficult to be precise when you don't know who you are or how you're feeling moment to moment. But yeah, I'm hoping and praying that these Rockefeller rallied pharmaceuticals will do the trick and do what they're supposed to do. So let's just give you a little bit of info of what the fuck we're talking about and why I'm taking it and what it does. Not like you don't already know if you're watching this video, but let's do it anyways, okay? Wellbutrin, also known as bupropion, is used to restore the balance of dopamine and norepinephrine in the brain. Basically, in layman's terms, meaning an increase in motivation, attention, memory, and mood. Right, this is revolutionary for me that this works with my dopamine receptors, because back in the day when I was like, 18 years old, depressed as fuck, not knowing I had borderline, not knowing anything really about personality disorders or mental health for that matter, my GM just prescribed me, your typical SSRI, your typical antidepressant that works with your serotonin levels. Well, let me just tell you that instantly turned me into a fucking psychopath. I think it was Prozac that I was on, but it could have been Lexapro. I don't fucking remember. But what I do remember is how fucking psychopathic I felt. I became completely void of empathy and really emotion altogether. Luckily, I had no desire to hurt people, but if I had any deep-seated resentments, I could have easily seen myself acting out and doing untold damage to society. Honestly, not giving a fuck what anyone thought, I'd walk around the mall, kicking my trash as I went, wishing a bitch would. Just fucking wishing a bitch would. I never went looking for a fight. I never instigated any fights, but my completely narcissistic behavior was a flashing neon red sign for one. A part of me knew that, and that smart part of me made the decision to stop taking them. And I knew from that point on that my serotonin levels were not to be messed with. And 10 years later, I'm back at it again, playing pharmaceutical Russian roulette and bringing you along for the ride. Hi, how's it going? Let's have fun. Let's talk about mental health and drugs. Fun. I was told that it takes a good solid 4 weeks for this shit to really get into your system, for you to see any dramatic changes in your behavior and your thought processes and emotions and yada, yada, yada. And a good 2 weeks to make sure that all the chemicals are balancing out and any of these small side effects dissipate. Right now, currently, at this point in time, I'm on day 4, and I've noticed some changes. I've noticed some little subtleties. Let's talk about it. Okay, so day 1, right after I popped the pill, I noticed a slight increase in my energy levels, my motivation, and my focus, which was really nice. But the most notable, I would say, difference, trait, symptom, was that I was very, very tired and exhausted in the early evening, which is not normal for me. I'm assuming it was the overstimulation and the focus that kind of really tired my brain out. Day 2 was rough. It was real rough. I woke up depressed. I woke up with a lot of dread, very fucking empty, which that's normal for me, it's typical. Like more of a heavy day for me though. And about 2 hours into it, I found myself on the kitchen floor, hugging my knees to my chest, rocking back and forth, hyperventilating, crying for a good 5 minutes straight. Then I was able to, catch my breath, talk myself back down to reality, tether myself down to the objective truths of the situation, even though there was no trigger or really nothing else the fucking matter, but crazy, it's crazy. I also noticed an extremely fast heartbeat going on when I was doing my morning workout, so I remembered that being a common side effect, so I kept my eye on that one, but I didn't notice it during my morning workout on day 3, And again, I got very unusually exhausted in the early evening time, and I had to fight through it. Day 3, and I started noticing myself getting slightly more focused and more motivated for life, without it being accompanied by a manic episode, which is new for me. It was nice, because as we know, what goes up must come down, right? So I avoided a major crash. But I'm not gonna lie, I kind of missed the manic happy feelings. They are quite intense. Quite intense. The manic happy high. That's what I call it. The manic happy high. Not to say I wasn't content when I was focused and motivated. I just wasn't, for lack of a better word, wasn't crazy happy. Wasn't buzzing, man. Wasn't buzzing off my own chemicals. Wasn't buzzing off my own chemicals. I kind of like buzzing off my own chemicals. Mania has been a pretty paramount personality trait for me, really. And one of the only real ones I enjoy about myself, because I'm not gonna lie, when that God complex hits, that's some fun and empowering shit, my guy. That's some fun and empowering shit. My baseline is usually a feeling, like I said, of emptiness, of just psychopathic numbness if it gets too overwhelming. But when that God complex hits, you just have all this energy, you have all this confidence, you have all this stamina, you have all this take on the world energy. Nobody gonna fucking stop you. You're a boss ass bitch. The God complex only shows up once in a while, but when it does, man, that shit hits different. No longer sad, stressy, and depressy now. I am a goddess. But yeah, like I said, that doesn't last for very long, but when it does, it's nice. So I kind of hope that the Wellbutrin doesn't, sever off the mania completely. I don't know who I'd be without that. But I guess that's just a trait of BPD, right? So, don't know who the fuck you are regardless. And ironically, with my mind more focused, I noticed a lot less intrusive thoughts, which was very nice. Which brings us to the now. Maybe not the now for you, because I don't know when the hell you'll be watching this, but the now for me, which is day 4. Let me tell you, my friend, I woke up this morning without a sense of dread. Yes, I woke up this morning without a feeling of impending doom, without a feeling of wanting to go back to sleep. I woke up this morning and my brain didn't choose violence. My brain didn't choose negativity. My brain chose neutrality. My brain really did that. I didn't do no DBT shit. I didn't do no CBT shit. I didn't do no hypnosis shit. I didn't do no nothing. It just did that. It did that. You did that. Good job, man. You did that. Thank you. Thank you. You did a good job. I'm sliding. Okay. So, we're in the crux of... Crux? That wasn't a very efficient word to use. We're in the middle of the day. So I haven't quite... gathered my thoughts and composed how I was feeling all day long. I probably should do that throughout the day, check in with myself, right? That's what a mental health professional would tell me. Check in with yourself all throughout the day. But so let's see, let's check in with myself now. Let's do this together. After I woke up, I did have a crying spell earlier today, but that had nothing to do with emotional dysregulation in general. That had to do more with me seeing a YouTube video that sparked a memory of somebody and destroyed my heart for 2 minutes straight, where I had a hyperventilation cry again. It was very cathartic though. It was nice. It was a beautiful cry. The nice ones, the good cries. I cry a lot, so I categorize them into different emotional benefits and sounds that can come out of this orifice. But where was I going with this? Checking in with myself. Yes, checking in. I cried. That only lasted 2 minutes. It was a very short cry. Talked myself out of that one once I, pulled myself together and said, fuck that. And then went down my checklist for the day. Moved on. It was a very simple transition. Feels like the crying fits are getting shorter in duration. I've had BPD my whole life, if I really think back to it. If I really think back to even 5 years old, I can see embarrassing BPD episodes. But what a lot of people don't know is that BPD actually goes into remission. A lot of the times, you can go months, years, decades even, without having any BPD symptoms, without actually having any borderline symptoms whatsoever. You would not be diagnosable as a borderline, but you still got it. Some people don't ever come out of remission once they go in, and a lot of the times it's because they have built a safety net of intimate connections. So the volatility of their emotional dysregulation is handled by the quality of their life, the enjoyment and the enrichment that they get out of, sorry, I'm itchy. They get out of that level of supply that they get, because it's not just narcissists that have supply. Borderlines have supply too. Narcissist supply is attention. They need that attention, baby. Give me that attention. Look at me, talk to me, acknowledge me, tell me I'm the best. Borderlines, our drug of choice, our supply is presence. See me, not attention-wise. Acknowledge me intimately. Care about what goes on in here, what goes on in here. Be with me, just be. Just fucking shut. Talking's nice, talking's great. We can get intimate, that's presence, but fucking be. Just be with me. That's our crack. That's our fucking crack, is presence. Presence, baby. But yes, there have been, what I was trying to say, circling back in my head, I'm so sorry guys. So there's been periods in my life where I didn't experience any BPD symptoms, where I actually was in remission, where you would not be able to fucking tell that I have BPD, that I'm a borderline. I mean, still, you wouldn't really be able to tell, because I'm a quiet BPD. Hell, that's the joke about being borderline in general, is that all throughout the day, you'll be switching up and you'll have a fucking breakdown, my guy. I'm telling you, full scale, hyperventilating, shaking breakdown for 10 minutes, just like I was talking about, for 10 minutes, where you're like, no man, that was not normal. That was not normal. That is not okay. That was not, I'm not okay. I've got something wrong up there. And then 10 minutes later, you'll be fine. You'll be completely fine. You won't have any understanding of where that came from, and you'll convince yourself that, do I even have a personality disorder? Do I even have anything wrong with me? I'm completely fine. What the fuck was that? What was that? Who was that? I don't know who she is. I don't know what that was. I don't think I have a personality disorder. I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine. I think I'm fine. But yeah, that's the running joke. Is that people with BPD think that they don't got it all the goddamn time until a trigger happens, baby. Then you got BPD again. But let's just start wrapping this up and tying this together, because I feel like I've been yammering for quite a while now, and you're probably bored of this. You know what, let's do 4-4-4. I like that. I like consistency. Let's do 4-4-4. So this is my day 4 review, then we're gonna do a 4-week review, because apparently that is when, you know, everything has settled down and we'll see the full effects of how not crazy I'll be later. 4 days, 4 weeks, 4 months. Let's do it. Review. Oh, yeah. Something else I wanted to talk about, some other symptomologies. Since day 1 of taking Wellbutrin, I've had absolutely no appetite. None. None. Don't want food, don't care about food, don't think about food. I could go all day without thinking about food. I could go till 4 o'clock in the afternoon and not even register that I haven't eaten yet, which becomes a problem because then you get the hangries and you're just like, why am I so angry? The BPD, but also the empty tummy. And again, I used to be 310 pounds at one point because I picked chaos and binge eating as my method of impulsivity to monitor and regulate my emotional state, which was not the healthiest choice of impulsive tactics. I don't know if there's any real healthy choice of impulsive tactics, but I'm pretty happy that this pill helps with making me not want to put nothing else in this mouth anymore. That is edible. Yeah, that's another thing. I haven't noticed any change in libido. So, definitely bonus for the Wellbutrin over your typical SSRI, because fuck that. You also have to take this pill with food because it is a stimulant. Oh yes, because even this morning, again, it's really hard to eat. It's hard to eat for me in general, but it's harder for me to eat with this pill. So I forced myself to have like 2 of those little yogurt cuppy things, you know, little yogurt cups. Force those down and then drop the pill down. Yeah, usually I had a little bit more in my stomach when I took the pill. This time with the just 2 little thingies of yogurt cups, ooh, I was very stimulated, let me tell you. But I did feel a crash after. I'm pushing through the crash right now. Not a heavy crash, not a heavy crash, but that is the last thing I wanted to talk about with the symptoms overall. Since day 1, that is the thing I've really noticed is I'm exhausted in the early evening. Exhausted. I can't keep my eyes open after 10 o'clock. And usually I'm a night owl. I'm up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes, and 10 o'clock rolls by, my eyes are burning, man. I can't keep them open anymore. I don't fight it. It's nice. It's nice just passing out around 10 o'clock and then waking up naturally around 6 and not having any intrusive negative thoughts. Neutrality is nice. I'm gonna have to engage this a little bit, see how this affects me. I'd have to do a little bit of time play and use our lovely deduction skills to deduce what the best time to pop the pill is, or if there is one, if there is any. Or maybe, who knows, maybe it was just the copious amounts of marijuana. Who knows? Who knows? But if you have BPD or any of the symptoms that BPD is attributed with, then you might get something out of this video. I don't know. I got something out of the videos that other people made about Wellbutrin, because I was like, bitch, if I'm gonna pop this pill, I would like to know some other people's brains and how they operated on this. I don't want to feel like a psychopath again. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. But not that type of psychopath. There's 2 types of psychopaths. There's a secondary psychopath, which is what a borderline flips into, which basically means a psychopath that's mediated by emotion and empathy, which is a very strange thing for psychologists to understand. And then there's the primary psychopath, which is the one that we always think of. We tend to think of all the time, you know, the one that has absolutely no empathy, no emotions. I'm rambling. Come back for my 4-week and 4-month review. Create a great week.